a high-frequency channel where source and spirit meet in tandem, where force between the mind, body, and spirit meet in friendship, while building a unity of energy and creation, fluidity in consciousness, where we let our spirits speak.
All right, take two. Welcome to another episode of The Raven's Den. Okay. I'm your host, Reverend Raven Nightclaw HP. We're going to change things up a little bit. Okay. We're going to probably turn this down. Got a new light too. See if there we go. Okay, that'll work. So, my fellow sentient beings, I have been moving through time and space aimlessly, wondering what it is that I am supposed to do and where am I supposed to do it. So I am literally going to start here. Now, what I'm about to do is abnormal. So let's begin. So, being a reverend high priest, as well as a interfaith minister, meaning multiple belief systems, means a lot. Okay, definitely means a lot. Means a lot to me, and to be able to share with you the best that comes to me. In such a way that it feels randomized, or some may call it a coincidence, or an intuitive feeling, or an idea, or ideology. However, I found myself looking through a few books. I want to share some education that was given to me. They're from different walks of life, even different belief systems for that fact. Now, I don't know how you guys are going to react to this. I hope that you will take this openly and with open arms. And I want you to know that I'm doing this for educational purposes and for the kindness of my own heart. Anybody that wishes to show your support, you just go ahead and click one of the links up or below. So today, August 1st, is actually a day, a Sabbath, a holiday, a high holiday at that. Excuse me, just gonna let my cat out. Yeah, I apologize. Hopefully you guys don't see that. No, no, okay. It's a high holiday. It is considered Lugnasa, or some people call it Lugnasar. It's a pagan and occult holiday. I want to wish all my witchy friends, pagan, Viking, Wiccan, Druid, all those happy holiday. And welcome to summer solstice. Now, I wanted to discuss something here. The first is, and I'm bringing into the fold of the craft, right? Which, again, third degree Reverend High Priest. And it's the Witch's Creed. I wanted to kind of read this for you. Now, it's different in some texts, but I want to, let me just bring this forward a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me better. Apparently, Let me see if I can open a chat here. Okay, yeah, I can open chat. Apparently, the pop-out chat wants to work, so that's good. I could just use that. All right. So, yes, llamas. Yes, happy llamas. Um, Now, I know that there's some out there that have already learned these things. I'm actually going to turn the show off. Okay, so I don't get distracted. Okay, so when it comes to these things, firstly, I know I'm not going to this because Cheryl obviously is in here, and she is one of my students, and I've already went over this with her in depth. But I'm going to start off with another book that I find quite interesting. Now, I mean, I'm not Christian in any way, shape, or form. I do say the word God or the name God quite often. However, I've literally randomly picked I guess I'll stop at yeah. It's a psalm, okay, from the Bible, and again, I resonate with almost everything at this point. But it says here, Psalm 35. Okay, yes, for those Christian individuals, pay attention. Okay, it says here, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me, fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for mine help. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am the salvation. Now, I'm just going to do this in threes. Okay, so if we were to take this to a different level, meaning a more open, more eclectic sort of level here, what I would take from that, it could very well be speaking to the higher self. I mean, think about that. You could literally say to yourself, be strong, or you may actually be as. I mean, I'm taking it as God, as they should say it, is it's almost it's either one of two things. It's either you pleading or God apparently is pleading to you, right? Well, and it's talking about now. It says, "I am the salvation." So, in order to now, I don't like the fact of being saved. But what I do like is the idea that we can be our own knight in shining armor. Okay, with assistance. Now, if you have any faith whatsoever, now I'm not talking about just Christianity. I'm talking about Catholicism. I'm talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about paganism. I'm talking about a whole bunch of different beliefs. Now, just in those three pieces right there. Okay, and I'm going to reread it because somebody else is in here. It says, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me, fight against them that fight against me. Okay, so basically you're requesting the source or God or whatever it is that you worship to be there for you, to bear witness and to protect you, apparently. All right. Then take hold of shield and buckler, so you're standing up and you're fighting. That's what it's, and you're asking for help. It says, draw out the spear, same difference. And it says, I am salvation. So let me ask a pretty crazy question. So why hold, take hold of shield and buckler when the book is the same book actually says thou shalt not kill. Oh, hang on a second, folks. I can't believe I'm doing this on live video. Hello. Okay. I'm in the middle of a radio show. What can I do for you? I didn't ask for a ticket to be put in, and I think my wife already said something to you guys. Did you guys fix everything? Just want to make sure. Okay. All right. Well, you can't call me back in like an hour. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, it's the weirdest synchronicities, right? I didn't even ask anybody to call me back. Just weird. Okay. So it's I'm going to continue with this. All right. So it says, "Let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul." Okay. So, hmm. But to continue this, let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. So those that are wishing to harm you, of course, you're actually asking them to also be harmed. It's almost like an eye for an eye. So to continue, let them be as chaff before the wind, or chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Lord chase them. Okay. See where we're getting at here? Okay, so let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord persecute them. For without cause have they hid for they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to pause this for a moment. This is literally talking about basically fighting fire with fire. But when we go further, it actually talks about rewarding us for good deeds. I mean, to me, kind of, it doesn't really make any sense to me, to be honest. I mean, it's like I said, some of it's a hypocrisy. So when we go into something else, which I'm going to go right back to what I was talking about. So there's a creed in witchcraft, and the witch's creed is different in different belief systems. This one is, let me just make sure that I'm okay. This is Wiccan. So again, based on the tradition, it might be something different, right? So the witch's creed here, it says to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. These are the four words of the magus. Magus, Magus. Okay. In order to dare, we must know. In order to will, we must dare. We must will to possess empire. To reign, we must be silent. Okay. So I will go a little bit deeper in this and explain the way that they're explaining it. Okay. Now, to know, it says we must free our minds and clear them of useless clutter, garbage, and worn out notions. Only then can we open them to accept the gifts of knowledge and truth, the gifts of the ancients that await us. Okay, so we're talking about divine intelligence, divine wisdom. Also, messages, synchronicity, signs, and insight. I think I said that twice. That we should or have not been open up to. So to dare, right? So to dare, T.O. space T.A.R.E. We must dare to overcome our own personal ignorance and outdated beliefs. Only then will we gain the personal strength necessary to walk the path of the craft. Okay, so that basically means removing ourselves from fear or fear-based thinking, and also remove I just heard this, and also remove hesitation or resistance. The next one is to will. It says without personal will our magic comes to naught, so it just doesn't happen. In order for our efforts to reach success we must want our goals so badly that we become one with them. Well, that's a pretty interesting concept because when you think about it, I mean, even Tony Robbins said something similar. He said, affirmations sometimes lead to delusion. You could say, I'm happy, and happy, and your mind says, BS, I'm not happy. Well, this is saying that you have to embody, your goals so much. Take them in and be one with them so much that they become one with you. Pretty cool, right? The last one, to keep silent. This is a twofold matter. First, we must acquire the trait of inner peace and quiet and cultivate it well within ourselves. Only then can we hear the messages of the gods or hear the truth from within. The second matter is a mundane one. Unfortunately, bigoted, frightened people still live in our world. And we must understand that those who do not wish to be educated will not be. For that reason, silence is often necessary to protect ourselves and the ways of the craft. I mean, this goes back to like old school sort of, religious beliefs and understandings. I mean, back in the day, I call it, okay, back in ancient times, these sort of, um, let's say, well, they used to call him a heretic, heretic sort of practices. They must be done in uh, some most of the time in solitude, secrecy, and also be silent. Now, I will say, still in some countries, they still believe in the same thing, like being, that the craft or anything magical wise is like taboo. And, well, we're starting to realize that maybe it's not so much. Maybe science and magic are very similar. Um, There's also 13 principles. I'm just going to go through the principles. Well, I might actually read the excerpt in the beginning here, but yeah. I mean, these are pretty deep. Just FYI, so sit tight. Don't jump out so quickly. All right, I'm talking about different religions here, and we're looking to find or at least understand the association or the connection with all of them. Okay, I'm again T.E.A, the Evolutionary Alchemist. I'm the one that transmutes all these energies into gold, apparently, right? So the 13 principles of Wiccan belief are as follows. Okay, it says here, as simple and unassuming as it is, the craft is probably one of the more maligned and misunderstood than any other religion on the face of the earth. And to a large degree, the movie media of years gone by is to blame. And I agree. I do agree. Okay. They often depicted witches as mean, hateful, evil people who worship the devil, ran amok, and wreaked untold havoc in the lives of others. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. Be that as it may, though, a good portion of society not only relished these ideas, but served them up as gospel truth. And we were just talking about the Bible just a moment ago, and I haven't even gotten to the point where it talks about witches. Okay, we're going to do it. I'm going to do this in live time too. It says in 1974, the Council of American Witches decided to do something about this. They adopted the following principles to define the craft and help its members live more easily within societal measures. So, pretty much give yourself a way of explaining and educating in order for the outside external people to understand what you're doing. Okay, in a sense. So, these principles still shape and guide our lives today. The 13 principles of Wiccan belief were drafted by Gnosticus, the former chairman of the Council of American Witches, which we know this man today is Carl Llewellyn Wischik, the owner of and publisher of Llewellyn Worldwide Publications. Okay, the first principle. We practice rites to attune ourselves with the natural rhythm of life forces marked by the phases of the moon and seasonal quarters and cross quarters, as we are right now, August 1st. Lammas as well as Lugnasa, right? Now, the second one is we recognize that our intelligence gives us a unique responsibility towards our environment. We seek to live in harmony with nature, in ecological balance, offering fulfillment to life and consciousness within an evolutionary concept. Number three, we acknowledge a depth of power far greater than is apparent to the average person, because it is far greater than ordinary. It is sometimes called supernatural, but we see it as lying within that which is naturally potential to all. Beautiful. The fourth one says we conceive of the creative power in the universe as manifesting through polarity, as masculine and feminine. Where did we find that? We ask. 7 Hermetic laws. The very last Hermetic law is the Hermetic law or the Hermetic principle of gender, okay, which speaks about having been, taking in balance of the masculine and the feminine inside all of us. And it continues, and that is this creative power lives in all people and functions through the interaction of the masculine and feminine. We value neither above the other, knowing each to be supportive of the other. We value sex as pleasure, as the symbol and embodiment of life, and as one of the sources of energies used in magical practices and religious worship. That pretty much sums it up by itself. Number 5, we recognize both outer worlds and inner, of psychological worlds, sometimes known as the spiritual world, the collective consciousness, the inner planes, and so on. And we see in the interaction of these two dimensions the basis for paranormal phenomena and magical exercises. We neglect neither dimension for the other, seeing both as necessary for our fulfillment. Sounds kind of egotistical a little bit at the end of that. Number 6, we do not recognize any I'm going to try to say this right. We do not recognize any authoritarian hierarchy, but do honor those who teach, respect those who share their great knowledge and wisdom, and acknowledge those who have courageously given of themselves in leadership. Okay, I could see that. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I like that one. Okay. 7, we see religion, magic, and wisdom in living as being united in the way one views the world and lives within it. A worldview and a philosophy of life that we identify as witchcraft, the Wiccan way. It is calling oneself witch does not make you a witch. I love that. It does not make you a witch. But neither does heredity itself, or the collection of titles, degrees, and initiations. Witches seek to control the forces within themselves that make life possible in order to live wisely and well, without harm to others, and in harmony with nature. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Number 9, we acknowledge that it is the affirmation and fulfillment of life, and a continuation of evolution and development of consciousness that gives meaning to the universe we know and to our personal role within it. 10, our only animosity towards Christianity or towards any other religion or philosophy of life is to the extent that its institutions have claimed to be the only way and have sought to deny freedom to others and to suppress other ways of religious practice and belief. 11, as American witches, we are not threatened by debates on the history of the craft, the origins of various terms, the legitimacy of various aspects of different traditions. We are concerned with our present and our future. 12, we do not accept the concept of absolute evil, nor do we worship any entity known as Satan or the devil, as defined by Christian tradition. We do not seek power through the suffering of others, nor do we accept that the concept that personal benefits can only be derived by denial to another. Only derived by denial to another. That's interesting. Okay. 13, we acknowledge that we seek within nature for that which is contributory to our health and well-being. Okay, cool. All right, so right then and there, we got to look at some of these things in depth, right? Because these are pretty specific. You follow me? And this is to do with Wiccan witchcraft. Well, Gerald Gardner definitely had his work cut out for him. Because what's really showing is a belief system of coexistence. Coexistence with other kinds, other religions, other beliefs, and other practices, as long as what we do. So let's ask a question though. What if By me practicing what I'm practicing, it actually harms you. Then what then? Now, again, I'm a Reverend High Priest. But what then? Do we change the ways of practice or beliefs? Only time will tell. Now, I'm actually going to go into another piece of reading material. And again, I don't necessarily give the names because they don't. I mean, they could be cited, of course. I mean, one's the Bible, of course. Another one, Dorothy Morrison's The Craft, and this one is Your Sixth Sense. This talks about psychic ability, and I want to share with you this excerpt that I was looking at. I want to read these to you because I love the fact that how they explain it. It's not too lengthy, and then we can part ways for the day and go on our day with absolute love and light. So this talks about intuition, and this is what it says. So intuition, on the other hand, has nothing to do with logic, although it can certainly work in harmony with it. With what? Just want to make sure that I'm saying this right. Tactical truth, blah 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 blah. Just want to make sure. Okay, voice or discontent. All right. So, intuitive knowing brings through the normal sensory channels information that by all accounts we aren't supposed to be getting because it's about someone or something other than us. It as though our personal boundaries were extended over more territory than just our own skins. And so we pick up data from the environment as if it were about us. It is intuition operating when a hotel elevator door opens to reveal a man who looks perfectly harmless, but nonetheless, we find our bodies bristling with alarm, as if we were presented with concrete external danger. I've had this a couple of times in my life. The feeling, in fact, might be so compelling that we may actually decline to enter the elevator and instead fake a gesture of having forgotten something and needing to go back to our room to retrieve it. We are experiencing intuition when the phone rings and we get an irrationally happy, optimistic, expanded feeling, as if something good were about to happen as a result of the call. Or then, or when, holding an unopened letter, we have a feeling of sadness or dread because our senses have somehow registered that bad news lies inside, long before our eyes have actually read it. This needn't be about life or death matters. Just yesterday, this author, stomach sank as he held an envelope, and lo and behold, inside was a notice raising my office rent by $50. Not exactly wonderful news, but not the end of the world either. We are experiencing intuition when greeting a colleague for lunch. We get a sudden feeling of pressure behind the eyes and nose, the just echo of discomfort that is, in fact, our companion's sinus headache. In his clinical setting, intuition helped him out with a man who came to see him for intense anxiety. He was a 37-year-old executive who had just moved to town with his young family to take an important new job. He said he was so anxious he couldn't concentrate, to the extent that he was having trouble taking hold of his new responsibilities. As he spoke in his very rapid, clipped, cerebral way about these things, I felt he felt a deep sadness coming up in me. He more or less diminished the feeling and went back to paying attention to what he was saying. But the sadness returned right away, very deep, very achy, like old grief. Again, I cleared my mind, and again the feeling came back. Finally, I interrupted him and asked, "Do you think you might be sad about something?" Could you be grieving over anything right now? He looked a little irritated by the interruption, said no. He didn't think so, and continued to talk about his worries about performing on his new job for his new boss. I know enough to not argue with people about what I think are their feelings, so I just continued to sit with him quietly, holding what by now I felt pretty certain was his grief, and I just listened. Within a matter of minutes, his talk came around to two people he left behind: the closest male friend he'd never had, and his old boss and mentor, a kind of nurturing man who'd been like a father to him. Because he'd never had such nourishing relationships with men before. These two people were especially dear to him, and he missed them terribly. Soon he was sobbing deeply, and at the same time laughing and saying how great it felt to be crying. In addition, he expressed surprise that these feelings had been inside of him all along. When he left the office about half a tissue box later, he said he felt wonderful. His anxiety had disappeared, along with the lid he placed over his grief. Through intuition, he picked up his feelings in my body. So this is intuition. When through our own sensory apparatus, we pick up feelings, sensations, perceptions, and emotions that are not ours but belong to someone or something else, or that are just plain hanging in the air. Our boundaries are extended to include more than just us. So, see, the whole thing is that when we talk about things like intuition, gut instincts, cognicity, stuff like that. Sometimes we don't realize how powerful it is. Sometimes we bypass it entirely. Sometimes we don't even think anything of it. And we just say, oh, that's just a figment of my imagination, which, truthfully, it's not. So, like I said, we talked about three different beliefs in three different things that are along the same guideline, being your own white knight and champion, being able to protect yourself, and those that you love, being able to request assistance, power, and strength from outside forces that are unknown to some. And then we have looking in, being able to integrate and sort of evolve and level up. And now the time has come for us to conclude. So until next time, folks, be blessed, be humble, live in the vibration of love, and just take care of each other. I think we need to spread more love than what we're experiencing right now. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, spread the love. My beautiful and amazing sentient beings and friends. Love and light, guys. See ya.
A high frequency channel where source and spirit meet in tandem, where forces between the mind, body, and spirit meet in friendship, while building a unity of energy and creation, fluidity in consciousness, where we let our spirits speak.